You're welcome back to Business Morning. If you've got questions and comments, you can tweet at us at the number of tweets there for you to send us your comments and your thoughts. Of course, at CTV Harriet is one of them. You can also tweet at B. Bolson. You can tweet at CTV_Bolaji, and also at the bigger brothers at Biz Morning and at Channels Television or Channels TV. We'll be glad to hear from you. Of course, we're tracking for you on the show the two-day stakeholders forum on the Nigerian capital market, where legislators and regulators are gathering in Nigeria's capital territory, federal capital territory in Abuja, to discuss ways forward in terms of how to drive the market. We're now joined on the show to give us a heads up as to what is going on at that event by Channels Television's business editor, Bosun Mafai. It joins me now to talk about how the event is getting on the way. Okay, while we try to connect to him, let's just bring you some of the speakers that you will be hearing from as the event is going to be live soon here on Channels Television. We have the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Mr. Imoukhuede. We have the Dr. Chinelo Anohu Amazu. She is the Director General of the National Pension Commission. Also, to talk about a number of issues on the event is Mrs. Elizabeth Waifu. She is a partner, Radix Legal and Consulting in the United Kingdom. Also is Mrs. Bridget Uko. She is the Group Manager, Investment, London Bureau of Erling in the UK. Like I said, the event is attracting a host of delegates from across the globe, not just here in Nigeria. We're having legislators, we're having regulators at the Nigerian capital market, officials of the Nigerian Stock Exchange will also be in attendance. We also have analysts, we have financial markets experts to attend the event, all in a bid to devise policies to see how they can network with one another and discuss how to move the capital market forward. Issues like mobilizing capital market financing for Nigeria's economic growth will be discussed by Mrs. Elizabeth Waifu. Like I said, she is a partner, Radix Legal and Consulting in the United Kingdom, and the Director General of the Securities and Exchange Commission, Mr. Imoukhuede, will be talking about the Nigerian Capital Market Master Plan. Of course, it's a 10-year master plan, and ways on how to fast-track the development of the market. How can the SEC and other bodies in the capital market work together to realize the objectives of the master plan is what will be talked about by the DG himself, Mr. Imoukhuede. Okay, I'm being joined right now by Bosun Mafai. Okay, Imoukhuede right now is ready to talk to us on the show. Good morning, Mr. Imoukhuede. If you can hear me, I would like you to talk to me about the Nigerian Capital Market Master Plan, which is a major issue that you will be discussing at the event.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Please, I was asking you.
This is the first time in the history of this.
Okay.
Yes.
I was asking you about the Nigerian Capital Master Plan.
Yes, this is the first time in the history.
Go on,
yes.
please. Please go on.
Yes, you recall that we started implementing the master plan last year. It's repeating. Last year. And because of certain issues with respect to the master plan, which has to do with legislative issues, we were able to collaborate with the legislators and say there's a need for us to come together so that we can take them through on the key initiative within the master plan and what we expect this market will be in the next 10 years. And we're happy that the Parliament is ready to give us the support. So this workshop is an opportunity for us to meet and for us to raise those issues, so that at the end of the day, if there's a need for a legislation to be enacted or certain amendments to be made, it can be made for the betterment of the capital market.
What laws or policies do you expect the legislators to draw up as a way to actually fast-track the implementation of the master plan?
Yes, you know, for the last 30, 40 years, there has been an argument with respect to certain provision of CAMA, which has hindered the issuance of securitized securities in this market. There is also the issue of Investment and Securities Tribunal, that it is not incorporated in the Constitution, and any issue or any judgment passed by the IST, some of the federal high courts do not honor them. So these are some of the issues that we think after this workshop we'll be able to collaborate with the National Assembly to see whether there's going to be an amendment on CAMA or there's going to be an enactment of another law, so that the Investment and Securities Tribunal, which is very critical in driving this market, would be able to have a strong footing in this market.
We're also expecting a host of other speakers to talk about various ways to actually develop the Nigerian capital market. What are your expectations based on the issues that will be discussed by these people?
Our expectation is, at the end of the day, we'll be able to be on the same page, both the market and the parliament. One, the parliament will be able to appreciate how delicate this market is, and will be able to appreciate some of the giant steps we have taken in the market. And more importantly, would also be able to appreciate the fact that if the expectation of the master plan in the next 10 years, the market should be able to grow to a certain level, that there will be need to amend certain laws. So at the end of the day, a communique will be issued. And luckily enough, already SEC has set up a market-wide committee to look at some of these laws. So by the time the laws have been amended, by the time the committee has finished its work and submitted their reports, it will be very easy for us to now partner with the parliament and raise those issues. And I believe that with the commitment we have seen from the parliament, within the next 2 years, I believe those laws, either new laws will be amended or the existing ones will be amended. So those are our expectations.
Okay, I know that the master plan is a 10-year plan, of course. It's not too long from now. 10 years is not too long from now. But are there strategies that you intend to deploy in order to ensure that the markets continues to look attractive to investors? Because I'm sure you're looking at the numbers in terms of how the Nigerian equities market has been doing for a while. But are there short-term measures that you intend to put in place to drive growth in the markets in general?
Okay, thank you, Bolaji. You know what we have been liking in this country for so many years is that report is being prepared, but that report is not being implemented. What we did when we came on board is to now look at the master plan, drill it down, and came up with 101 initiatives. So every year we come up with between 10 or 15 initiatives, which we call like the low-hanging fruits. Last year we were able to execute a lot of those initiatives. I'm sure you might have noticed a lot of enlightenment program we've been doing on e-dividend, electronic dividend, dematerialization, recapitalization. So every year we come up with certain initiatives and we make sure that we achieve them. This year we've also come up with about 5 initiatives, 15 initiatives within the master plan. And we are driving them religiously. Towards the end of the year, we also come up with another initiatives, so that in the next 3-4 years, we'll be able to achieve all the initiatives earmarked in the master plan.
The Vice President, Professor Yemi-Osinbajo, is expected to declare the event opened. What are your expectations from the executive in this respect in terms of the environment that they intend to create for the growth of the capital market?
Now one very important thing about also the master plan is the emphasis on the ownership. The ownership is based for the executives, the legislators, and the judiciary. Last year I was able to meet the vice president, and he was very keen on seeing that this master plan is implemented. I was able to hand over the master plan document to him, and he commit that government will give its support. And now we are now interfacing with the legislators. You also recall that in February this year, we also did a judges conference in which we had an interface with the judiciary. So this is the last leg we are having in terms of the parliament. Next week, we're also going to visit some key ministries so that we also have their own buy-in. So the three key arms of the government, the parliament, the judiciary, and the executives are very key. And we are going to continue to have interface with them so that we'll be able to mainstream the master plan and it becomes part of the economic agenda of the government.
I know that funding is very critical to the growth of the markets. One of the speakers will be talking about how to mobilize funds for the capital market. How do you think that the master plan can address the issue of liquidity in the equities market now? Because that has been a major challenge facing the growth of that market.
Yes, locally enough, the master plan emphasized on the need to build a domestic investor base, both from the institutional side and from the retail side. Now, like I said, what we're doing in terms of the e-dividend, the dematerialization, the direct cash settlement is to bring back the retail investor who has shone away from the market so that we can address some of the concerns that they have. We're also partnering with PENCOM to see how we can leverage on the pension funds. We understand that it is very important that any area that the pension fund is going to be invested must be an area that is secured and can also yield returns. So we're also challenging the market to come up with the products such that the pension funds can now be invested. Because we have seen over the last 3-4 years that the level of investment from the pension funds as stipulated under the pension guidelines has not been met. And when you discuss with the pension fund administrators, they will tell you that there are no products. So we are also challenging the market to come up with the products so that those funds that have not been invested fully into the market, they can now bring them in.
Very important point there, talking about product development, especially as it relates to pension funds. But I would like to know, what level of risk assessment does the SEC intend to do in terms of ensuring that workers' future savings, because that's what pensions is, are actually secured in terms of the area that they intend to invest them to? How do we intend to come up with the various risks assessments that would ensure safety on the long term?
Yes, the SEC has fortified its enforcement mechanism such that once any operator, crosses the red line, SEC has shown a good example that that operator cannot go scot-free. But I'm happy to say that in the last couple of years, the level of infractions in the market has significantly gone down. SEC has also continuously been coming up with rules and regulations so that issuers of products can now have opportunity to do that. The best we can do at the regulatory side is to create an enabling environment through the creation of rules and regulations and also enforce mechanism to ensure that infractions are not being committed. And I think we've been doing quite well in the last couple of years.
Okay, let's talk a bit more about the pension funds. Of course, that is one way that the Nigerian government is trying to explore to invest in infrastructure development. How much guarantee do you think that the government would want to give in terms of using workers' savings, investing it in infrastructure development, and ensuring that this monies...
Yes, that's actually one of the topics that will be discussed tomorrow. But we're eagerly waiting for the guidelines, the new guidelines from PENCOM. The new guidelines from PENCOM in terms of investment of the PFA is also very, very robust. But what we've been telling people is issuers should look at what sort of product they are going to bring to the market. Even if you're looking at infrastructure funds, what sort of comfort are you going to give to the person that is going to invest the funds? So by the time the PENCOM guidelines comes out, I think a lot of clarification will come in. And I believe that some of those infrastructure funds that the country dearly needs will be able to come to the market.
And I'm sure that international investors are actually looking at these events in terms of what policies, what deliberations and conclusions will be reached by the participants. What do you intend to tell them at the end of this conference?
Sorry, I can't hear you very well, Balaji. I didn't hear
what
what you
message would you want to pass across to the international community, international investors who are also keeping their eyes on the discussions that will be made at this conference?
Well, again, this is also an opportunity for the international investors to also see that the capital market and the parliament are coming together. Some of the issues they've had for quite a while is certain legislation that inhibits investments. And with this collaboration, certainly we're sending them a very strong signal that the parliament is ready either to enact new laws or to amend some of the laws that have been affecting, the flow of investment into the country.
Thank you so much, Mr. Imoukhuede, the Director General at the Securities and Exchange Commission. Of course, the two-day stakeholders forum at the Nigerian capital markets will start in earnest. And of course, we're looking at the theme, realizing the full potentials of the Nigerian economy through proactive capital markets legislation. That event is expected to be declared open by Vice President Professor Yemi Osinbajo, and it's been organized by the Senate and House of Representatives Joint Committee on Capital Markets and Institutions. Okay, on that note, we've come to the end of Business Morning. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. We hope to see you again same time tomorrow. I'm Bolaji Akinwale.